All right, quick video time here, Texans fans. You see the title. I'm just going to get straight to the point. As I do that, like, subscribe. Why not? We got a ton of Texans content on here, and so we want to talk about how the Texans found a star where nobody expected. And I'm going to say the name, and then you're going to be like, "No, I expected it," and then I'm going to tell you why nobody expected it. And you have to understand, I am a big fan of this player because I am a huge Michigan fan. Now, we're Lions fans on this channel, but we're also Michigan fans, okay? And so I was watching Nico Collins play football before COVID. I'm old enough to remember Nico Collins balling out at the University of Michigan. But I am telling you right now, this is an unexpected place to find a star. Nico Collins was drafted in the third round. He was drafted in the third round, pick 89, 90, something like that. So toward the middle / back end of the third round. I thought that was an interesting place for him. He was drafted more on what his measurables were than I think his actual production. And the reason I'm going to say that right now is I'm going to read you some of his stats from college. All right. I want to read you some of his stats from college. His sophomore year at the University of Michigan, played in 13 games. He had 38 catches. So he had just under 3 catches a game for 632 yards. Okay, so that was good for 16.6 yards a clip. He was the deep ball, big body receiver. That's what he was. And then in 2019, as a junior, same thing. All right. Same thing in 2019 where he had 12 or 37 catches, not 38, 37, just took it for 729 yards for 19.7. Okay. I understand that Michigan is not this place where guys go and get catch after catch after catch after catch after catch after catch. But those aren't numbers that scream, I am going to be a stud in the NFL. Prior to the game against the Pittsburgh Steelers, he had already had 15 catches for 260 yards. After the game against the Steelers, you can add another 7 catches and 168 yards. So he has 22 grabs in 4 games. Okay, that's 5.5 grabs a game. So it's still not a ton of catches every game. But, and I have to do quick math on the fly here, and I'm going to say it's somewhere around 428 yards is what he's sitting at now. 428 yards in 4 games. He's averaging, that's 107 yards a game. 107 yards a game, 5.5 catches. That's over 20 yards. That's over 20 yards a catch. He has been a big play receiver. His PFF grades are phenomenal. It's an 83.7 going into this game. It's going to be even better. PFF is going to have him rated as a top 10, top 5. I think he was 11th. He was rated the 11th receiver in PFF going into this game. He's going to be even higher after this game. He had 9 targets on a day where CJ Stroud barely threw for 50%. He completed 7 of his 9 targets to Nico Collins. Look, I understand that Nico Collins is a guy at 6'4", 215 that has enough speed to do some things. And I also understand he's only 24 years old. But if you're sitting here and telling me you expected him to come out and have 428 yards in the first 4 games, I mean, you're a really good fan. That's the only way I can put it. In his first 2 years in the NFL, where I understand he played 10 and 14 games, he had a total of 481 and 446 yards. 481 and 446. All right. 481 was last year. He's already at 428 in 4 games. In 4 games. His most yards per game that he's ever averaged in his career is 48, and he is averaging over 100. It's 107. So, yes, I'm going to make the argument that they found a star where nobody expected. They found a star of a guy who didn't even have 100 receptions as a collegiate athlete, barely over 1,000 yards for his career. Not barely, but between 1,000 and 1,500. And right now, he is a great connection. And you ready for another area where it's a star that nobody expected? the connection between an Ohio State Buckeye and a Michigan Wolverine. It just proves that winning solves all problems. And it's fun to watch, isn't it? Like, how jacked up are you right now if you're a Texans fan? Like, seriously, how jacked up are you? Like, I don't even know how to explain the excitement you must have. Sure, you lose to the Ravens, then you lose to the Colts, but back-to-back wins against teams that won that in the Steelers that people think is like at least going to be decent. I mean, you have Mike Tomlin, who's never gone under 500 in a season, and you just destroyed him. And you also beat the crap out of the Jaguars, who everybody thought was going to be phenomenal this year. And then they went and spanked the Falcons. So, like, yeah, if I'm a Houston Texans fan, I'm wondering to myself, like, man, how quick are we going to be good? And there's some excitement. But what you needed for this team to be successful was you needed one or two of these wide receivers that were not proven. I'm not saying they weren't good. They weren't proven to ball out. And they are. And they are. So, yeah, I think you might have found something here. And I think you found a guy in Nico Collins that can be your number one receiver, or at worst, a good outside receiver for years to come. He's 24 years old. He can do some serious things. He's got good hands. He can have contested catch. He can get away from people. He can do all those kinds of things. And while I'm doing this, I have to see if he ever filled out the RAS. So here's the athletic profile on this guy. And I always like to show this. So let me see if I can actually present it to you. I want to see if we can find this real quick. Look at this. This is poor. All right, there you go. All right. I hope you can see that well. All right. 9.57. And if you've never heard of this, he ran a 4.45 40. This is a relative athletic score in comparison to every receiver who's ever done this. All right. His height, his size is elite. His explosion is great. His speed is good. His agility is good. And now he's putting it all together on the field. I'm not saying he's the fastest guy in the world, but I am saying when you look at guys like Mike Evans, when you look at guys like T. Higgins, when you look at that kind of a mold, he absolutely can be the next player that's going to be a perennial 1,000-yard plus receiver, book him for 8 touchdowns plus, and just consistent for a team when they need it. Good red zone threat, good deep threat. You guys found something special. You found something special. And I love seeing it because that's a Wolverine in the NFL having success. So hope you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, leave a comment on how good you think Nico Collins is, or what the limit is for him. How good or how high is this guy's ceiling? All right. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.